Tracy Linderman with Patients for Patients Medical, for those of you that don't know who I am. And I'm here today to talk to you about the registry and how it will affect you if you choose to join, what you can do if you choose not to join. So I started with the basic knowledge about the registry. I educate patients on a daily basis. But I wanted to look into what the state had to offer for information. This was interesting. I talked to the Liquor Control Board. I wanted to know what their idea of why we needed a registry was. They immediately bounced me to the Department of Health. The Department of Health told me that they have a very small staff, and they guided me to two areas of their website that I could read how this would benefit me and my family to join the registry. In several other articles, I found pieces of information that kind of put the puzzle together for me, because a lot of patients come to me with a pre-notioned idea of how the law works, how authorizations work, how getting your plant count works. And so when you start hearing the same thing over and over, you start wondering, where are they getting this information? So Dope Magazine gets distributed to our offices, and how the changes for medical cannabis were going to affect patients. That was the first article that I read. It was totally wrong. It said that your authorization would automatically expire on July 1st, that you would have to go to your primary care provider only to get your authorization, and that you would have to register. None of those things are true. Leafly put out an article that had a closer version to how the registry works, but it was a little bit confusing. In the first paragraph, it says that as soon as you authorize, your doctor is to give all of that information to the Department of Health immediately. And then a few sentences down, it says that the registry is optional. That would confuse me if I did not know the law and I did not know the process. So when I had patients saying, your doctors give this information to the Department of Health regardless of whether I register or not, I was wondering, where are they getting this information? I found it. It's out there. You just Google medical cannabis and you're going to get a lot of very incorrect information. Okay, so let's talk about what the registry really means. If you register, the Department of Health's 4 main reasons for registering. It clarifies medicinal use. Okay? It says that your cannabis is now medicinal. That the registry better protects patients by regulating the products to ensure safety. I know that you guys know this is not true, okay? I know that you know that. Maybe there are some people still buying from the shops that believe that their products are safe and tested because they come from the state, but this is not true. Protection from arrest. We had someone mention that earlier today, that they feel like they had to register because they don't want to be arrested and they can't take any chances. And I truly hope that registering ensures that for you. I don't quite trust it myself. The tax break is the 4th benefit for people who register, and that is 9%, the sales tax, okay? It's not the 37%, although that was proposed in legislation last year, and it got a lot of people really excited, but that's pretty much the last they heard of it. So when they go back to get their authorization, they assume that if they register, they get it. It never passed, so that's not true. So what are you giving up to be in the registry? You're giving up your civil liberties, okay? You're giving up, first of all, a thing that's very important to me are my gun rights. My ability to personally carry a gun. I'm a single woman. I travel the state quite often. I have no other protection. And I feel necessary for me to protect myself. That's my own personal choice. How about the ability to purchase a gun in the future? Once you're a registered patient, the information in the registry stays there for 10 years. 10 years. I was very surprised and glad to see, upon reading on the Department's Health website, that there is now a way to revoke your information from the registry. Not sure if any of you know that, but if you've registered, they give you an out. And I would like to test this, but not on myself. So if someone else would like to try to get out, we can search for them later. That'd be great. Okay. John mentioned, and we mentioned this earlier, The registry's already been breached, okay? There was some confusion when it first started. The stores didn't know where to put all the information. They started entering your information into BioTrack, which spreads it widely, and it's very public. That situation was identified, and they have said they have corrected it. And let's hope they do. But your information, no matter how small it is valuable to producers and processors and retailers in ways you will never understand. And it all comes down to money. All right. So the registry is not mandatory. Your information is in no way given to the Department of Health when you get your authorization. None of it, okay? For 1 year's period of time, from July 24th of 2015 up until July 1st of 2016, doctors had to report how many authorizations they wrote each month. No other information, just the number of authorizations that they wrote each month. And this was for a study that the legislation tasked the Department of Health with to see if the state should step into that doctor and patient relationship. So this was part of that study. It ended on July 1st. They no longer have to report how many authorizations they write each month. And your information was never given to the Department of Health and still is not given. So I guess you have to weigh for yourself and your own situation with the registry if it's something you choose to do, because it is not mandatory. Whether or not you can live on the 4-plant limit, though, that forces you to make a choice. I'm asking you to be honest about that for the sake of your provider, because it's ultimately going to be your doctor's license that gets revoked of the number of patients not registering and growing more plants than they're supposed to. We need to protect the doctor's ability to authorize patients, and we need to protect patients, and then we can protect other interests, okay? So if you do register, the state decides to practice medicine without a license, they automatically increase your plant count to 6 plants, and you get 8 ounces, okay? So you can be still authorized for up to 15 plants. There's a lot of different authorization companies out there. There are doctors doing this privately. Each doctor has to decide for themselves how they're going to handle this situation. But I will let you know that in my communication with the Department of Health, if you are going to be authorized for more than the 6 plants, they want you to have an extreme medical condition that can be proven if it ever gets called into court or for any other reason. And so your doctor is, again, liable for that decision with you. 7 to 15 plants will, as John mentioned earlier, allow you to carry a maximum of 16 ounces on you of dry usable cannabis. So how do you stay off the registry? You stay in your 4-plant, 6-ounce limit, and you do not have a designated provider. I didn't think I skipped over that, but if you have a designated provider, you do have to join the registry. Anyone under the age of 18 years old has to join the registry. All minors have to join the registry. For a period while they were discussing rulemaking, 18 to 21-year-olds often were told they had to have a provider. When the rules became final, they said that's no longer the case. We were going by Liquor Control Board guidelines, trying to figure out how that works with alcohol with the 21-year age limit. And when they finalized the rules, they said that 18 to 21-year-olds could be their own patient without a designated provider. So that freed them from having to join the registry, which is great. So it's not really my job to give you my personal opinion, but you've probably gathered it by now. I don't support the registry, okay? I think that we need to make some changes. I don't think that the state can be trusted with your information. I think the only person that can be trusted with that information is your doctor.